Hey, welcome to the Rashawn Franklin Show. A quick little episode. I wanted to talk about and give my Vegas picks for the weekend football. I've done a lot of football research and kind of wanted to give you guys some uh, insight about what I've been seeing in terms of, what to bet, who to bet, and why. So I'm going to start with the college football playoff. Did a deep dive on Indiana and Miami. I think Indiana is just incredibly talented. They got two wide receivers who are like extremely great against the catch, like in tough catches and contested catches, they can catch anything. It's crazy. When they played uh, Oregon, Oregon has good corners, and they were playing good coverage, but they just could not check those guys. And um, the quarterback, he is Fernando Mendoza. He is what they're billing him to be. He's not as uber talented as these, as the usual number one overall picks. And, when you talk about the Caleb Williams, the Bryce, uh, when you talk about the Caleb Williams, when you talk about the Bryce Youngs, they've been famous for a long time because they've been good for a long time, but he's not of that ilk. So it could go either way in terms of him uh, living up to the number one overall billing or not. He will go number one overall. He's very athletic, uh, very timely with the throws. He can make pretty much every throw, deep ball, mid range, short. Makes good decisions. He's really good. And couple that with the offensive line, can pass block and run block. So he doesn't make mistakes. They can really run the football. They've got tough receivers. It is like, as a Kentucky fan and a Kentucky alum, it pains me to say this team is like legit. And so what happens is when they get up on you, uh, they're able to send their defensive line, who is really good as well, after you. And so it's an avalanche of sorts. And, they're really good. But on the Miami side of the football, uh, they're just as good on the offensive and defensive lines. I think that in terms of talent at the skill positions, Miami might have a minuscule edge. The fact that it's at home, I would take the points because it's close. I think Miami's quarterback, he's obviously not as good as Mendoza, but I think because it's such a huge game, I think he's going to play up to the best he can. He's going to play up to whatever his potential, his ceiling is. Uh, you got to realize this game is in Miami's backyard. They almost have to win it. I don't. They're just against a juggernaut, a really tough football team that's traveled less, that has one less game on them than they're going into this. But you know, if they're gonna be upset, if Indiana's gonna be upset, it would be a team that's playing at home. So I'm taking Miami. The line is kind of switched from 7.5 to like 8 to 8.5. I would take Miami at that 8 number and uh, and see what happens. But you kind of if you're going to bet the 8, you might as well bet the money line, in my opinion. Now we're going to Bills Broncos. Interesting game. I love the fact that this line is going back and forth. It started Buffalo -1.5. Now it's trending. It switched to Denver -1. So that means we're in for Vegas doesn't know where to give the points. That means we're in for a pretty good game. Uh, in terms of who wins, whew, tough one. Love Denver's defense. Love their roster, top to bottom. I think that they've got a good roster, good offensive lines, a good defensive lines. That's why they won 14 games. Um, but they just, and I think that when it comes to these type of games in the playoffs, it just comes down to who has the better quarterback. When it's evenly matched like this. I think Josh Allen understands the moment. I think he understands that, hey, this is possible for him to get Buffalo back to a Super Bowl. And I think he's going to get it done. So I would take the Bills money line here. Yeah, and if they're giving you some points, I would take those just to feel safe. But I'm taking Bills money line here. The next one is San Francisco, Seattle, another division game. Seattle's direct last game was against San Francisco, so it's kind of like they're playing back to backs, which is crazy in the game of football. Like I've said in the main episode yesterday, this is Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job I think he's done as a head coach. They are, they've got guys off the street playing real minutes for them, real snaps, and they continue to come out with victories. That it's a testament to having two head coaches, Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan, determining the plan to go into these games. But they're going against a team that is just like Denver, great on both offensive line and the defensive line, has great skill positions, just a great defense, a great offensive line. The difference is Seattle can really run the football. They're a little bit better in the run because they've got two guys that I think can really tote the rock at a high level. This probably comes down to whether if we get good Sam Darnold or bad Sam Darnold. I think with the week off and, just the stakes at home, at Lumen, knowing this team, playing them for the third time, I think that I would go Seattle. I don't know. Money line for sure. I'm debating on whether to give the points. I would say yes. Let's give the points. It's 7.5. That seems a little bit rich for me, but since that's the spread, I would say give the points. Seattle minus 7.5 in that one. And then we can go to Houston and New England. Watched Houston last night against Pittsburgh. That defensive line, man, it reminds me of the 2015 Denver Broncos. That's who it reminds me of. Peyton on the other side of the football on that team didn't have a great year. He was like old Peyton, but it didn't really matter because that defense was just so good. They had a good running game, good receivers. Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. Emmanuel Sanders. C.J. Anderson was on that team. So they had good offensive pieces. And I think, the Texans do too. C.J.'s not playing as well. So it's kind of in that ilk. And defensive head coach, man, they look legitimate. I am taking them to, first of all, I don't know about taking the under, but I would be surprised if there's more than 40 points scored in this game. So, it kind of, those unders and overs in playoff games can get a little weird. So that's why I'm not recommending that. But I'm definitely taking Houston +3 in this. They're going to be able to get after Drake May, make it uncomfortable like the Chargers did, but maybe at a higher level. And I think that they'll be able to get some turnovers out of him as well. So I would, man, listen, they're beating them. They're going in there and beating them. And I am taking, and they're giving points. So give me Houston +3 in that one for sure. And now the granddaddy of them all, Chicago, my team, against the Rams. It's in Chicago. When you look at it on paper, their strength is our weakness. They can really throw the football. They've got dynamic wide receivers. They just do this at a high level offensively. It's very difficult to check Puka Nacua when you even have good to great DBs. Our DBs are good. They are just injured. Kyler has been hurt. Jalen Johnson just does not look the same, and they've been picked on. I think Kyler looks a little bit better in this game in the past, but they got Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua. It's gonna be a tough one. It lends itself to being a shootout. Um, and I would guess that um, you know, the Bears are gonna be ready for that. Seems like Loveland is stepping into that number one role. But if you look at if he's in that number one role, the ancillary pieces are DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze. That is a pretty good cast of characters that Caleb has to throw to. You got to go into this knowing that the play calls have to be up to par. Ben Johnson knows that. You got to go into this knowing that you can't start slow. It's pedal to the metal. This could be just a old classic playoff shootout. I cannot bring myself to pick against the Bears, and I'm just not going to do it. And so I'm going with us. I think that part of this is that we're going to have to be able to control the football a little bit better. Run the ball. I think we're going to have to run the ball a little bit more. But if somehow they get the ball first and start to score, like it happened against the Panthers, we're going to have to be ready for a shootout, and that's just what it is. So, taking the Bears money line here, and those are my picks for the weekend.